One of the things I really want to dig into with you, Carl, is the amount of sales experience you have. In my life, I noticed a lot changed when I got into sales. It was an industry I avoided my whole life because of the classic negative stereotype, and I wanted to start off and ask you, like, how did you get into sales, and what's been your process through the sales journey so far?
Well, some sales kind of started. So I got it from my dad. My dad was in sales, pretty much all his life. So just, being around him, as a child, you see what your parents are doing and what they're working. He's always taking conference calls or calls in the car and whatnot. So it just kind of came natural to me as sales as far as just being in that environment at a younger age. And it was funny because I used to always hear the problems he would solve, and I'd be like, well, how would I handle that? So I kind of was already future thinking, and I had no need to be thinking that. And then when it came to my first sales job was Gold's Gym. I was 18, just turned 18, about to go to college. And one of the big funny things, well, I was just going there so I can clean up the weights and put them on the shelf. But I had a full resume and everything set up because, I'm a pretty smart kid. I know how to have a resume. You're going for a job. I'll
Mhm.
set myself apart. So when I got there, the guy was like, well, this is very impressive. Most of your age don't bring a resume and you just want to clean up weights. I said, yeah, I just need a quick job before I go off to college for the summer. So they were like, okay. He's like, well, this is impressive. We don't have anything available right now. We'll call you back. I literally was driving home 10 minutes up the road where I pulled into my apartment complex and he called me back and he said, hey, listen, this resume is so impressive. I got a job for you. It generally takes 4 months to train you and get you ready for it. He's like, but if you can get through it pretty fast, you probably can get through it in 30 days. And you could just kind of make commissions for the summer. If it's something you want to come back after you come back from school, you can keep doing it. You already be adapted to it. So I was like,
Mhm.
okay, cool, let's try it out or whatever, whatnot. So when I got there, first day, I killed the training in 2 weeks. So they said some people it takes 4 months, some people 30 days. It was 2 weeks I did this training. You literally watch videos and just click a button. That's all how simple it was. So it's just spending time watching a video, clicking a button.
Mhm.
And then they positioned it to me as you can either get an hourly, and this is back when minimum wage was like $7. So they
Mhm.
said you can get an hourly of $10 an hour or whatever you sell gym memberships come in and whatnot. And, whatever's higher, that's what you get. Well, keep in mind, I've never sold anything in my life. So really, the hourly was what I'm loving. So I'm sitting there and it just became one of those things that basically all I really helped was walk-ins. I didn't have to go set cards up. I did, but I wasn't expecting that business because there was I didn't have enough time for that business to come back to me.
Yeah.
So my whole goal is anything walk in, capitalize on it. Well, the first person that I ever had that walked in and whatnot, they give you the sales pitch is you pitch them what they have, and you're basically going to offer the most expensive gym membership that they can see. Then
Mhm.
you're going to say, well, I assume it's probably the price because you hit on every emotional aspect. This is kind of where I got a lot of my sales skills from. And they
Mhm.
kind of wanted, people go to the gym for all different reasons, whether it's, you're upset with your weight. It could be you used to look like this before, you want to look like this, or you can't do what you used to do before. So it's some type of emotional thing that ties you to want to come to the gym.
Mhm.
So that was the easiest thing to figure out because the next step is once I got you there, is to present the presentation of money. Well,
Mhm.
I was going to give you the higher package, and I would in the middle of it go say, hold on, let me see what my boss can do. Go walk over to my boss, and they're going to cut my numbers all in half, and it's going to make it seem like a real good. It was the worst sales tactics.
Mhm.
So I was like, is this what we're gonna do? It happened about 4 times. And I got after that, it's like, I don't want to keep going and get you to make it seem like you guys can come in. Why don't I just offer it to them right here? Why would we do that? I know what you're gonna do.
Mhm.
So they had me working on a weekend by myself. At Goes Gym, I probably had 12 walk-ins on a Saturday. Well, their biggest promotion was if you pay it for the year, they'll give you the 55 plus promotion, no matter what age you are. You just get that discount.
Mhm.
So if you do the math monthly, you save like $200. It was a big number. So most people were like, well, we'll just pay it off my credit card. Here you go. Here you go.
Yeah.
So I had 12 transactions and they were like, well, how'd you know how to do this? And it was just more building the relationship with people and, finding that emotion that they have. And then now
Yeah.
tying it to a price that they could fit and they could see because a lot of people, a lot of people, what they do is get a gym membership and never use it. So, and that was the main point of most people wouldn't want to commit. But if you made it like at a certain price, and you got to remember, this is back when gym memberships were average $45, $50 a month.
Mhm.
Now you got $10, $20 here and there,
Yeah.
but you're selling people that, and it was crazy. So that kind of what kind of took off into the going into sales aspect. And then I was a major in business management. So seeing the aspects and just, I'm a numbers guy. So
Mhm.
seeing things of that just kind of make me like, okay, well, if I can position this so somebody else can understand it in their own way, then it's easier because it's all about just understanding it.
Yeah. Were you always business minded growing up, even before the Gold's Gym?
Yeah, I mean, I was one of that thought before I did. So I have an older brother, younger brother, and a younger sister. So me and my brothers are a year apart. So my older brother was always the older kid. You know, he did all the older experiences and got in jail for being the old first child.
Mhm,
I was more seeing that and just thoughtful about it. My younger brother was more just fearless. He didn't care. He just didn't ask questions later.
mhm,
Got in trouble about it and thought about it later. Versus me, so you get both aspects, and I just forethink a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? Like playing it around in my head and see how it played out in my head, should I say, and see how it's gonna pan out or which options could be available. And then it's just
mhm.
one of those things. It's just finding different situations and aspects that you can fulfill and complete.
That's interesting. You're very introspective, but I would not describe you as an introvert. You're very extroverted as a personality, right? Do you think
Yeah.
that? And maybe I'm wrong on this, but as I observe other salesmen in my career and just in sales experience overall, it almost seems like the extroverts are more successful. Would you concur with that?
I would say yeah. I would say in a sales environment, yeah.
In the sales
Uh,
environment.
yeah, in a sales environment. But again, it all depends what that environment is. Because I think of real estate as sales, but it's not really sales,
Mhm,
right? You're not really selling people like as a car. You're selling them all the features and details and benefits.
mhm,
In real estate, they're kind of bringing you the house, and you're more just advising them. You're not selling them. So
right.
with your expertise is you're able to help them out and where they're at, and that's what I love about it. Helping people out where they're at.
And that really applies to any sort of sales job in the
Yep.
GS
Yeah.
real estate.
The great sales can help you anywhere you're at.
Yeah. Yeah. What would you on that note, what would you say differentiates between a great salesman and average or the typical stereotypical negative salesman uh,
A,
personality that's out there?
a good salesman is going to build a relationship with you. I mean, because again, it all comes down to what product or what services that other person needs,
Mhm,
right? So a good salesman is going to build a relationship and understand what they need, and then be able to execute, provide it for them, right? So back in the day at T-Mobile, I used to use the analogy. It's like going shopping. You have a basket of food, and it's like you're walking through, and it's like, okay, what food do I need to pull out of the basket? And then you pull it out and you use it, type deal.
mhm. Gotcha. So what would be your advice to anyone getting into sales?
The biggest thing I'd say getting in sales period is be humble. Humble is a big thing, right? I think most people see in a world that most salesmen are cocky or confident. That is definitely a trait to have, is being confident, but also being humble to want to learn new things.
Mhm,
Especially in real estate, that's the biggest thing in our business, is being able to learn and being able to adapt to new things, because nothing's always going to be like a written rule. It's always, well, it could be this way, it could be that way. It's 50-50. So you
mhm.
have just a generalization, then it comes off the experience and just being in the moment.
Yeah. How long have you been in real estate now?
This was going into my 4th year. So the end of December will complete 4 years coming up. So just completed 3 full years of real estate.
And can you, if you don't have the exact numbers, that's okay. But I'm curious what how your first year compared to your second year, your third year, and now your fourth year, as far as your success. How has it grown in those 4 years?
So first year I did 12 units sold, units of volume. The second year I did 30. And then this past year I did 33. So as you see, it's going up and up. Definitely double, triple from the first year. First year was definitely a learning experience for me.
Mhm,
And I think that first year, if you use it as, if you put too much pressure on yourself to succeed and be successful in the first year, as far as comparing, how many units sold, that's where I think you're going to get over your head. But if you put that success as far as what are you learning? What did you learn from this? Are you getting better each day? Are you doing your research? Are you going to the trainings? Are you shadowing others? So things of that nature, like I said, will allow you to be where you want to be and help you out. And that's what I've overcome, is, the difference of that first year, guys, just, wanting to be so successful, and then, humble myself and realize, learn the game, understand the game, then go execute the game.
mhm.
So, and that's when the second year came and things kick in gear. Now I'm more on a repeat business style deal, so I don't have to sit there and take as many crazy leads or pick up the phone 24, because I have business calling me 24/7 now.
Mhm. So how is 2026 going to be a year of growth, or how are you going to be improving this year?
So 2026 is going to be a big year. It's definitely going to be a big year. Looking to go into leadership and running a branch of the team off Paramount Home Group. So that's pretty big coming up, hopefully in the works very very soon. And just overall the aspect. I mean, it's just another year of being in the 30 pluses.
Yeah.
You know, 30 is that bar set that can't go below that.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think that being in a leadership role is going to slow your production down?
Not really. I think it's just gonna go from instead of just getting company leads, it's gonna go more to repeat business style deal, people referral, word of mouth, social media. So I think I'm just gonna see in a different aspect compared to taking live leads. Now you're gonna be managing a team, which those are gonna be your leads, compared and
Mm,
helping them out to go produce and make more.
gotcha. How did you end up partnering with Keegan and PhG?
So a good friend of mine, longtime friend of mine, she brought me over. I didn't know nobody. I'm not the type that sits there and goes and interviews, a bunch of teams to see compare. Give it to me straight one time. I can cipher myself, is it real or not? Or do I need to talk to somebody else? And from day one with me and Keegan, it wasn't even an interview. This guy started questioning me about what does my future look like? Have you thought about this? And it made me just sit back and it's like, all the answers people want to hear is like, you didn't ask me no questions, so I can give you those answers. You made me think about what I have going on, and didn't even pitch or give Paramount to me. It made me sit back and think. And if somebody cares that much about somebody you don't know, it just makes me wonder, like, well, what else can I know? Or what else can I learn?
That's funny that you bring up, like, that Keegan just kept asking you questions. That's what he's known for.
Yeah.
That's the name of the game for him is ask questions. Always, always, always be asking questions.
Yep.
Something I
Yep.
really appreciate about this team, and just learning how to give value by not boasting yourself up like, "Oh, I did this many transactions and I've done blah, blah, blah," but just being able to show how much you know by the questions that you ask. Yeah, that's
Exactly.
something I really do
No,
appreciate this
definitely.
team.
And I'm a big question guy myself. So, that was something that got me. Like, I like the way of thinking, they meshed very easily.
Yeah. What's been one of the most impactful transactions of your 3-year career so far besides your own?
I would say probably my most recent one in November. So I had a client, stage 4 cancer, that reached out to me,
Mm,
needed to sell his house. He was in a 5 bedroom, 3 bath house or 3.5 bath house, over 2,400 square feet, living there by himself. He's in his 70s. All his family's from California, lives in California. Um, and when I first seen him, I didn't realize he had the stage 4 cancer because he was moving around, he was joking, negotiating, but he was moving, selling all these things, furniture in his house on Facebook Marketplace when I met for the listing appointment.
mm,
So when I was talking to him, he said, "Hey, listen, I already have another agent that I'm actually talking to help me buy this house, but I just wanted to get another opinion. So I just want to be truthful with you, but I'm going to review this and get back with you." And then he called me the next day or two, wanted me to come back out there. And he says he liked what I said, he liked the energy I had, and he wants to work with me.
mm,
So I said, "Cool, awesome. Let's come back out there. Let's get everything, dot our I's, cross our T's type deal, make sure." So when I got there, I could tell like totally changed within 48 hours of how he looked. And I was like, "You okay?" And I mean, barely could stand up. He was, and that's when he told me, like, "I have stage 4 cancer. I got to get out of here." So he's like, "I need you." So more pressure. Now, this is 750K house. We're in the height of a buyer's market. It's in Sarasota, gated community. You know what I mean?
yeah,
HOA, flood zone, every hurdle you have to overcome. This had it.
yeah,
And so I'm like, "Hey, turn around." And that last house that just sold, 90 days it took. Brand new house, fully updated, the whole 9 yards in 90 days. So I'm like, "Hey, listen, we got a 90-day return period on here. Hope you wait that long." So he's like, "Yeah, I need it sold. I need it sold." So we're on the market 2 weeks. Had an offer come in. We were listed at 760, and the offer came in was 715. So he's like, "Hey, I really want to get out of here. I know it's worth 760 because we're selling solar, all this included with it being paid off."
mm,
And he said, "I'll do 740. I want to get out of here." So the realtor responded and said, "You're not going to get 740. That's crazy. Things haven't sold in there." When the last property just sold for 780. So I
mhm,
was lower than that. And we have the comparables plus solar. So I was like, "What? Okay, cool." So no worries. So about 3 weeks go by. Another person comes by, really like it. They see it, called me, like, da 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 da. They got to sell their other home, but they really like it. I said, "Okay, cool. Come and do another showing." So by then he's telling me like, "Hey, I got to get to California. My health is dropping bad. I need to get to my kids." I kind of don't want to leave the earth here. I got to get to California. So if you can at least do me that, I'll be happy.
Mm,
So they see it again. So it comes up. The agent calls me and said, "Hey, we need to sell our, they didn't sell their house. They dropped it, whatnot. Still not selling. We had an investor. An investor backed out. They wanted to know, would they be cool with renting?" And I was like, maybe. I know he needs money. So maybe if I can get him enough money to get out, he'll probably do it, at least until they can sell their house. So got creative, came up with, hey, yes, give us $20,000 for 90 days. Right. And a
mm,
full asking offer. So that was the agreement. We give you 90-day. Yeah. And we get full asking on the offer plus 20K. So we got 760 plus a 20K for the rental on there. Goal was, if you can get this shortened, each month that we close earlier than 90 days, we give you $5,000 back. Okay, with the max being given back 10,000. So the seller automatically gets 10,000 over just for letting this whole deal happen.
yeah.
So everybody cool with it. Gets them to California, good to go. Sellers come back, they sold their house. 30 days. So we took 10,000 off, and plus so now he literally passed away 5 days prior to close.
Man.
5 days prior to close. But being the agent I was, and I knew the Simon was, he's gonna probably pass away or leave this earth before the transaction is over. We made sure everything was in a trust. We made sure those who were responsible for the trust had a communication with me. We made sure we had the rental lease in the trust's name. So next, if he had passed away, I can still continue business with whoever name was on the trust, and it's his sons.
Yeah.
Perfect, flawless close, no issue.
Yeah.
They messaged me, with the funeral arrangements, tell me, "Thank you, we appreciate you so much." They're like, "We were skeptic of the rental. We don't know how you pulled that off because that's crazy, to rent it to somebody not knowing, what could happen." But I
Mhm.
poked holes through it. I poked so many holes through it. It took me about 4 days to ponder over it to get it to the right, leasing agreement, the right verbiage to make sure all parties were secured and it benefited the seller way he couldn't lose.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds like
So
that was the agent for the job there.
yep, yep,
Uh,
definitely. So that was one part. Yep, because I got it done in the deadline, got him to California, and he laid his eyes to rest in California. So
mm. Do you think it's a good or bad thing for an agent to identify as either a seller agent or a buyer agent?
I don't think early in your career, I think you need a best of both worlds. Because if you can get best of both worlds, that will allow you at least to see both vantage points, and then you can pick. I mean, if
Mm,
you come to the game already, and I get a lot of people favor seller because you don't have to do as much moving around, chasing buyers, da 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 da. There's pros and cons to each one depending upon who you are.
mm,
Being new to the game, I think you need to get it from both sides so you can understand it. And I feel like a lot of buyer leads come quicker than seller leads.
mhm.
Because sellers, they already bought. Now they're looking for an agent who can sell their property. And a lot of people that bought usually may have not liked their agent. So they're looking for other agents and things. So they have already had a bad experience. So it's going in. If you don't have the experience, you don't want to throw yourself out in the fire to where you're learning the hard way and not the right way, should I say, or a way that flows to make sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So what would be your advice to a brand new agent who, still within their first year of real estate?
I would say buyer leads come faster than anything. Soak up as many buyers as you can. Understand the market. Understand different personalities and people and how to mesh and deal with them. And then I wouldn't say disregard seller leads still, but you get the shadowing, get the opportunities you can to be with an agent that is producing listings and getting them sold, not just getting them signed.
Mm.
So that's one big thing I would say. And the biggest thing overall for an agent is, like I said, just put your head down and soak up as much as you can as a sponge.
Always be learning.
Always do it.
Oh.
Yeah, and I still learn now. Crazy things you learn now, you're like, "I didn't even think about that." Or what if it goes you start asking more questions once you hear something, you're like, "Well, what about this? What about that?"
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Switching gears a little bit, getting to more on like the personal side of things. One topic I like to talk about with a lot of people is travel. Is travel something you've done a lot outside of the US or even
I
inside?
when I was younger, I'm not a big travel man. I'm one of those that I don't care to get on planes, I don't care to get on boats for a long time.
Mm.
I it's just not my flow. I'm one of those I like to be at peace, kick my feet up, I'm cool. Travel wise,
Big homebody.
I'm a homebody. I mean, I like to get out of the house, but I don't care to leave the state or United States, should I say? Don't mind that. I'm just one of those that are like I like to be at peace. So I like what I like. I don't like to switch it up much.
How long have you been in Tampa Bay?
Ooh, shit. So I'm about to be 39, so 24 years.
Okay. Nice. Are there any favorite spots you have in the area? Hidden gems?
I would say not favorite spots, man. As you get older, I start to price at whatever comes up. I don't really have too much. I'm one of those that I'm favorite for whatever comes up type deal. I'll try it out. Give it at least a shot at least once.
So I and just from what I've observed, from your life and even in this conversation now, it seems like family's a real big deal to you.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Family's always been number one. I mean, I had my first child 6 years ago. I have two. So I didn't get to experience, having a child to love like that at an early age. So it was all about family. It was my nieces, nephews, my brothers, my sisters,
Mm.
parents, and my parents taught us to be very close. So family definitely is a big thing. It's a bond, and so I have blood family and I have, close relatives that are not blood, but I still consider them family.
And are most of them all here in Tampa Bay?
Most of them, my little brother's not, but, yeah, everybody else as far as my older brother and my sister are here, and my mom's here, so but other than that, just immediate family, just not my little brother.
Gotcha. Right on. Um, I'm curious, do you have a, like, a faith, or do you believe in God?
Yeah, yeah, a Christian-based faith, believe in God, I mean, we definitely were brought up in the church,
Mm.
we're not gonna be the most religious people, but you know what I mean, God was always taught and part of it,
Yeah.
so definitely, yeah.
What would you say is your testimony?
My biggest testimony is just being here, man, because a lot of times you take life for granted. You
Mhm.
know, I lost my dad going on just past 5 years. And the biggest thing, we're all just living. You didn't until he left this earth. You don't think about all the things he taught you to survive when he leaves this earth. So my biggest testimony is just living, being present, and doing everything I can to be a big person and to live my life the way I want to be.
Mm. Right on. What role has your relationship with God played in your, personal and professional life?
Without God, there's some days I don't know how I made it out of certain places and whatnot and certain transactions. Is the biggest thing. So with God, it just allows me to believe. I mean, I believe in the unknown. You know what I mean? I don't have doubt until I'm shown it can't be done.
Mm.
So with that, I believe faith allows that to happen. I believe in the unseen, man. You don't know how many things come true that you wouldn't believe, and it's like sometimes you just have to believe.
Yeah, yeah, right on. Well, last question I got for you, Carl. What is Carl Aaron's doing 10 years from now?
Well, so hopefully we'll have 50 agents under our St. Peter Pinellas County brokerage. 50, I shouldn't say 50, 10 years, give me 100. I'm going for 100 agents minimum over here. It's going to be producing, I'm just going to be living the life of leadership, pouring back into other agents. I don't feel like I'll be in production in 10 years. I'll still be doing it, still carry a license.
Mhm.
Uh, but I feel it's going to be me pouring back into others the Paramount way.
So you wanna still be with PHG.
Oh, yeah,
You
bro, I ain't
you
going
you
nowhere.
and kids for life, huh?
I've been here from the get-go since there's nowhere else to go. Like, it's funny when people call me and give me the pictures. I just don't have time to listen to them.
Yeah,
Because, like I said, it goes back to what I know what I want and the peace that I want.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
At the end of the day, if I'm searching for new peace, that's when I'll reach out and start hearing all this and that. But there's no new peace. And a lot of new peace that you want starts within first.
Mhm.
So I'm always going to look within before I start looking at, pointing fingers and trying to look out.
Yep. I respond almost the same way when other brokerages, offices call me. I'm just like, "Sorry, you can't compete with PHG. This
It's
is the
like, I don't
best
even wanna
thing."
tell you that, so I'm like, "You just gotta go, sorry," you know what I mean? Like, I'm just getting it's like,
Retain it.
yeah. So,
Right on.
I know I'll be on that other side of the call one day, so hey.
Yep. Yep. That works, right? Well, hey,
Exactly.
man, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your real busy day, and, yeah, I hope you go crush the rest of your day and weekend, brother.
Appreciate it, man. Take it easy, Caleb.
Alright, bro. Take it easy.
Alright.